Hi everyone, this is Francisco. Anyways, so it's super cold out here in Redding, California. It's March 18th, 2021, and it's super cold in this month, this day, this year, and who knows how it will be, later on in the future. As I don't know how it was back in the past. And I just had to do some research. But I was just thinking about the house frame where the window typically gets installed. You know that square rectangle, that big hole that gets filled in with a window. But anyway, that thing, I was thinking about stuff we can do to that. And I actually thought about some windows that can have the blinds inside of these windows, even if they have to be made thicker, or the glass, even if the glass has to be spaced out a little bit further. And then a blind can go in there. And what else can you guys think of? Any other ideas? Anyway, so like what I was thinking was some form of insulation, like to keep when it's cold, to keep that coldness out the motherfucking house. That type of thing. And obviously, it would have to be made where no one could fuck with it. It can be part of, saving electricity, saving energy, saving money over time, an investment. It could be some form of insulation, like people spend a lot of money for house insulation on the perimeter of the home or of a home, right? So it'll be that type of idea. But then I thought, well, then how would it be like introduced or implemented and then not implemented for other days? Like, for instance, if it's super, super hot outside, which is not right now, I wish it was, like, this current moment. But that's why we have climate control, right? But then it costs money. At least that's what people bitch and complain about, you know? And then there's also blankets. You could just buy more blankets, cover up, layer up. No big deal, right? Just layer up. But having some form of insulation for the windows would be super super cool. Cool invention, cool idea. I know some people have shutters, so maybe adding some insulation in the shutters would be a good idea. And also, so like I was saying, if it's hot outside, which it's not, and I got distracted by saying that, but if it's hot outside, then it will keep that heat out of the house if that's what you want, right? If it's cold outside, you keep the cold out there. So it will be a good investment. It will actually be a good idea for someone to come up with something like that. But we have to remember we have to take other things into consideration. Like, first of all, safety. Windows are typically there so people could jump out in case of a fire. Or there has to be some form of doorways, which is probably more ideal for, you know, escaping a fire or running from a fire. Um, so, so there's that, you know, so it has to be able to open up. It can't be like boarded up. It can't. So we have to think about that. And then also, why do people use windows? So they could see out, or so they could allow light to come in, because people want to save money. So they open up the blinds. They open them up so light can come in. Because we're not smart enough to fucking install some other shit, or whatever the fucking case may be. So there's pros and cons to everything, right? So anyway, the whole point is coming up with an insulated way to keep the cold out at night and keep the room temperature to the desired thermostat, level. And also, it'll save a lot of people money, because in the summer, when they're running their AC, the glass is a great conductor. It really is. Glass is a great conductor. That's why they even move or transition to microfiber optics cables, fiber optic cables, which is a form of glass. If I'm thinking correctly, or if I recall correctly. And so it's just like a metal, right? It conducts heat or cool temperatures very rapidly. So, being that it's cold outside, the glass is absorbing that cool air and transferring it to the inside of the house. Or if it's hot outside, it does the same thing. and then it transfers it into the house. So by us somehow creating some form of insulation that can be used, like I'm thinking the blinds can have some form of, either the blinds or the shutters can have some form of insulation. So we have to think about that. For you that are in that type of business, or like the windows that they have that have the blinds inside of the window, like all that stuff can be. And we have to just be creative and think about ideas to make it happen. Because right now, I'm fucking cold. Like, I'm literally using my Conair 1875. And hopefully that's not the year that it was, invented. But even if it was, I mean, the motherfucker still fucking works. And that's all that motherfucking matters. And look at this shit. Fuck yeah. So, that's definitely keeping me warm. And I mean, it's a great... It's a great invention. This here is a great invention. I mean, what's happening here is pretty much like a light bulb. The little things in there get hot. And it's just a fan. Well, it's not just a fan, but there's a fan in there that circulates all the air, blows it out. And then there's also the cool button. So, I mean, why the fuck use propane? Why use anything else? Just use electricity. Because my friend, he just had the AC and heating guys go to his house, and they connected the heater to the propane tank. So it's like, what the fuck? But... That feels good. Better than fucking coldness. Right? So anyway. Oh yeah. And then there's also, colors. There's white colors reflect the light. Dark colors absorb the light, attract the light without reflecting, without it reflecting the light. So during the night or during the day, that can play a huge factor on the outcome of whether the sun will heat up the house or not, dependent entirely on the color to a certain degree, to a certain percentage, right? It can save you a lot of money in the long run. I mean, let's just say it reduces it by 5 or 10%, add that up. Add it up. It all adds up, right? Real quick, right? You have $1,000, you spend it, and then you spend another 1,000, and then another 1,000. Pretty soon you don't have shit. And you have to wait for the next paycheck. It all adds up. So we have to think about all that. And of course, it will cost money to buy the fucking blinds. It's called an upgrade. And also, it's called a fucking investment, a future investment. So, of course, not everyone will be able to fucking afford it. Of course. It's just like back in the day, not everyone had fucking glass windows. That was only for like royalty people, people that were rich, very, very wealthy. Or if they were, or if they knew the people that were making it and they got lucky enough to get some for free as a gift or something, you know? But now we all have it. So it's like whatever now. But it's still valuable, it's still expensive. And stuff like that. And so like this idea that I'm talking about, it's called innovation. Not everyone can afford innovation. But I believe, ladies and gentlemen, that we can all work together and we can all figure it out. Because motherfuckers don't want to be cold. Motherfuckers don't want to be fucking hot. And of course, there's blankets and shit like that. Maybe we just need to innovate the fucking blanket. That wouldn't be a bad idea. That would actually be more wiser, probably, than investing money in fucking curtains. But think about it. If you're sleeping in one bedroom, you just have to focus on that one window. In this case, this window. See what I'm saying? Is this window. Not all the other windows. So you could just invest in one blind. If you have children, on one blind. One bedroom. Well, maybe more than one window. But still, it's just an idea. And we all, what sells the most is comfort. Couches, mattresses, pillows, car seats, anything that, is comfort and pleasure. That's all we think about. Everything else is bullshit in our eyes. That's why I think a lot of people don't mind paying for their house. Especially if it has AC and a heater. Comfort. Why do people use warm water instead of cold water? If you're achieving the same results, you're just showering, right? You're just taking a shower. But some people prefer that comfort. They want that fucking hot water. Why? Because it's comfort. That's fucking why. Why do people pay fucking $200 plus for a fucking mattress? Comfort. So, it's gotta be either we layer up, whatever's more affordable. We layer up, we innovate the blinds or the windows somehow. Because think about it, for the summer, in the summer time, it gets fucking hot as fuck. And people feel that fucking heat. So whether we invest in blankets, whether we layer up, we're still going to feel that heat. So that's when the blinds will be better. So I'm talking about the pros and cons now. So during the summer, obviously, you're not going to want to use like the advanced or more evolutionary type of blankets. You're going to like want to use something that's more thinner, like a sheet, or nothing at all, or anything at all. Well, like a sheet. I mean, so like we just have to think about all that. We have to think about all that. So we can all just rest comfortably. And the revolutionary blanket, that's a great idea for, to hand down to people that are out there living on the streets. There's a lot of people out there on the streets. It's like going camping. So I guess for the winter, it wouldn't be a bad idea to have those those blankets. More blankets, or one blanket that will keep the heat. I mean, yeah, that will retain the heat, but will keep the cold away. But then there's also the factor where someone gets up at night, they have to use the restroom, and then it's fucking cold. So that's when the window thing, the blinds would probably be, either way. Like, it's a great idea. I think the blinds are just super fucking awesome. I think, like, just thinking about it now, like, that's where the real money's at now. What the fuck? So we just have to think about the blinds, and we have to think about our own comfort and the comfort of others. So we have to invest, and we have to come up with these blinds. We're basically innovating, evolving the motherfucking blinds. And I think it's a great idea. Now that I think about it. But I don't know, like smart people would have to like sit down and really consider like all the possibilities and the pros and cons. Kind of like NASA. I mean, I was just reading about Perseverance, a rover that they sent to Mars. I don't know when, but I do know, however, that it landed on Mars on February 18th, 2021. So 50 people were assigned to that project and they thought about everything. They everything and they made it happen. They send it out, right? So that's exactly what I'm talking about. It doesn't matter how many people it requires to think about all these concepts. It can be done, and I think that it should be done to bless people. It's that simple. Like, we don't have to overcomplicate things. The less complications, the better life is for everyone. And those that are making complications need to get the fuck out of the way or get fucking dealt with.